Ric O'Barry.
Happy Mother's Day!
Woo!
All the moms out there?
Oh, goodness me. Right, well, Ric, it is fantastic to have you here, and I know that you've been busy in the halls and talking to people and meeting people and inspiring people. So I guess, and I know that none of the questions are going to be original, because you've probably been asked them all a million times before. But I want to start with, give people a little sense of, well, actually, before you talk about Dolphins and the whole campaigning thing, what were you before the Dolphin, Flipper, and then everything else?
I was as ignorant as I could be for as long as I could be. It was like a separate incarnation, I think. But I was greatly influenced by your mother and father. How many people saw the movie Born Free?
Hey!
Thank you very much.
Well, not everybody saw it. You should find it online and watch it. It influenced many of us, and not just the movie, but the song. That song lived on long after the movie. You could go. I grew up in Miami, and no matter where you went, you heard that song. Mm-hmm. Born Free, yeah. So it had a great influence on me.
Oh well.
Remind me to talk about Captain Lumbaloo when we're having our interview. By the way.
Are we having an interview?
Yeah.
Okay. kind of you to say so. And actually, if you're interested, that song has been reinterpreted by Brian May, and it's on the Born Free website with a slightly Queen twist. So enjoy that when you go on there. So with Flipper and the death of Kathy.
Yeah.
How did that? What was it? I mean, it was that triggered it. But how did you take that? How did you turn that grief, distress, anger, I assume, into something positive?
Well, anger and guilt. Yeah. I worked in the. I started off capturing dolphins and training them. In fact, my very first day on the job at the Miami Seaquarium, I was hired as a diver. In the main tank doing the show with a helmet on and walking around feeding the creatures. But actually, my very first day on the job, I was on the capture boat in Biscayne Bay, capturing dolphins for Brighton, for England, and all these places that were opening up there. It was the third dolphinarium in the world. It was not a multi-billion-dollar industry then. The Seaquarium opened on Christmas Day, 1955, and I was there. I was on leave, 14 days leave from the Navy, and I remember standing in front of that glass window looking into it, and there's a guy walking around with a helmet on, bubbles streaming from to the surface, and I watched, fascinated by dolphins and 500-pound grouper and sea turtles the size of that table, and I thought, God, this is it. When I get out of the Navy, I'm going to come back and get that guy's job. And 5 years later, I did. And I climbed the ladder very quickly and it was just a matter of luck. They were doing a movie called Flipper, and I was chosen to represent the Seaquarium. The Seaquarium supplied the dolphins and a trainer, and that was me. And I did that for 7 years. Flipper was a very successful movie, another movie, and then a television series.
But then that all changed. I mean, that all changed for you.
Yeah. In
a heartbeat, in a sense, or the lack of a heartbeat. And then from then on, with your work, 1970, the Dolphin Project was started on Earth Day, which is April the
22nd.
22nd.
Yep. I found myself in the Bimini jail, Bimini, Bahamas, right across the Gulf Stream from Miami Seaquarium. They had dolphins in a cage in the harbor, and actually I captured those dolphins as well. And there was only one of them left. His name was Charlie Brown, and so Flipper, yeah, Kathy was Flipper in the TV series, and she died of suicide in my arms.
For those who haven't read that or heard that, I mean, it's an extraordinary moment. I mean, if you can bear to describe it again.
Yeah, I use that word suicide. I don't know another word in the English language which describes what is indeed self-induced asphyxiation. In other words, dolphins are not, as you know, dolphins and other whales are not automatic air breathers. And so they can end their life anytime they want to just by not taking the next breath. And I think that happens a lot more than people realize. I see that at the Cove all the time. They just and sink to the bottom. And you don't see it because they sink. When dolphins die, they don't float, they sink to the bottom. And that's what happened with Flipper. Kathy sank to the bottom of the tank. I jumped in, went to the bottom, and brought her body back up. I didn't know she was dead. I never saw anything like that before. I was absolutely shocked. It was the day before Earth Day, 1970. I'd gone out just to visit her. I quit by then. And I got my knee up against her lungs and tried to give her artificial respiration, and I could see bubbles coming out of her blowhole, and she was gone. I was angry. I was going to free every captive dolphin that I could, and I remembered Charlie Brown in Bimini, and the next day I was there cutting fences.
Right. And, you know, rolling that forward, I think you've released 25 or so.
I haven't been counting, but it's Guatemala, Nicaragua, Colombia, Brazil, Haiti. Now we're doing one as we speak, another one in Seoul, Korea. And congratulations, by the way, on the successful release in Turkey of the Dolphins.
Thanks very much. But you've been sort of, you know, you're setting an example as an activist. You're setting the example of robust direct action, advocacy, but also not just talking the talk, but walking the talk when it comes to release, and developing the protocols and learning as you go along. I mean, I guess we must be honest, there are no absolute guarantees in any of this. You know, dolphins can make it and dolphins sometimes don't make it. And one of my questions to you is, so if a dolphin, in your judgment, cannot go back to the wild for whatever reason, what is your vision of long-term care? Because that, presumably, it's not in a seaquarium.
Well, maybe it is.
Okay.
Maybe it is. I think the seaquarium and this industry has to change. It has to revolutionize. We're revolutionaries, I think. We're not anarchists. There's a way for them to... So, to answer your question, and I've thought about that so many nights when I'm supposed to be sleeping, I'm thinking about this for the last 45 years, and I know what the solution is. First of all, number one, stop capturing dolphins and other whales. There is no need to do that for any reason, not for research or entertainment. That's the first step. Step number two, those that can be released back into the wild, and not all of them can, not all of them even know what the wild is. Mm-hmm. There are many dolphins in Europe, especially, where it's cold in the wintertime, that are indoors, like in Belgium, for example. The dolphins are in a building like this. They were born inside of a building. They have never experienced the natural rhythms of the sea, the tide, the current, and so forth. Taking them out and putting them into a sea pen like this. This is the one we built in Brazil. It's my son and I, Lincoln, transporting dolphins, but moving them to a natural sea pen, or better yet, a large, natural, attractive cove somewhere. And then implementing birth control. Mm-hmm. Some of the dolphins, so all dolphins can be transported to a natural environment like this. And there's no problem with the public seeing that. The important thing is for the public to go there and be told the truth. Look, captivity is wrong. It's a failed experiment. We've been doing this since 1938. We realize this is not the way to do it. The dolphins you see here in this sanctuary are going to be here the rest of their life. We're going to feed them now. please do not applaud. You should never applaud a wild animal performing for you. They're not performing. They're not ambassadors. They're victims. And so just simply, the simple truth will set this industry free. And if you construct these places, these sanctuaries, for example, I just came back from Quintana Roo in Mexico, where they have 18 of these captive facilities. Some of them can already become a sanctuary simply by implementing birth control. They're in natural seawater, and there are hundreds of hotels that are selling tickets to ride on the dolphins. Every one of those hotels. The people who go to these places, if they had a choice, they would go to see the dolphins at the sanctuary instead of going to the swim program.
So is it a question of it seems to me that then it's a question of trying to, and this is almost rhetorical, can the mentality of those people who run captive facilities, as we understand them to be now, can we change that mentality? Does it need a change in management in order to embrace a new vision?
Well, the best way to bring about change for the common good is by example. And that's what John Hargrove is doing. You meant in your question, look at him for the answer. The rest of the trainers have to do what he's doing.
Right.
They can work at these places. These places can be profitable. Mm-hmm. The public would like to go to a sanctuary and be told the truth. Mm-hmm. So it's a really simple thing.
But the industry are in denial. I mean,
that's the problem.
If you put that question to the new chief executive, presumably of SeaWorld, it's like, we don't see anything wrong with what we're doing. In fact, we still embrace what we're doing.
Yeah, well, they're wrong, and they know it. I've started a new book, some time ago. It's called On the Dolphin Trail, which is where I've spent the last 45 years. And the very last sentence in it is, the bastards are wrong, and they know it. I love that line. So I got to fill in the whole 3,000 pages now. But yeah. So I may not agree with you on they don't know it, or they know.
Right.
There's no question about that in my mind. They're on the wrong side of history, and that's changing.
Okay, so example, you say we have to lead by example on the one hand, but then as far as the public is concerned, you, me, everyone here, how do we become part of that change process? How do we become advocates in our own way, in our own world? Not everyone is going to spend, more than half a lifetime working on these issues directly, but what can we each individually do that advances the mission?
Well, one of the most important changes for the positive is social media. And everybody here, I'm sure, uses it. We have to get the message out. Don't buy a ticket for a dolphin show. That sounds very, very simplistic, but it really is the answer to the solution to the problem. It's based on supply and demand, just like any other product. And that's why you see SeaWorld in decline right now. I saw a photograph yesterday of the parking lot, and there were like 9 cars in there. People are getting the message because of the Cove movie, which is as much about the dolphin captivity issue as it is about saving the ocean and what happens at the Cove and so forth. When people see that, or they see blood dolphins, and by the way, you can see blood dolphins at dolphinproject.net for free. There's 3 episodes there. And also blackfish. If the public sees those, they're going to think twice before they buy a ticket for a dolphin show. And that's actually working. That's why you're seeing all of this change going on.
SeaWorld would, and I know they've said this, would claim that this is a sort of blip. That, yes, people have seen the films and they're concerned, but in a short space of time, a year or 2, they'll kind of forget that. It'll be yesterday's news, and they'll come back. Do you think that is a vision that is in any way accurate?
Nope, that ain't happening, right?
Yeah.
Hey!
There's too many activists. These are all activists. Most of these people are activists. And so back to social media, they're on the internet all the time with this message: don't buy a ticket. And the public is going there and getting educated. And yeah, that's changing really fast.
Mm-hmm. I think what's also fascinating, and just spreading this slightly, is that I talk to people about other species, elephants, for example, and they say, we've got to make a film like The Cove, got to make a film like Blackfish, because they can see the incredible power that those films, those messages have, and they want to do the same for other species as you've been able to achieve through the films with dolphins, with cetacean.
Well, your parents already did that.
Oh.
Yeah, I wish they would bring that back. We need more films like that. That's the new activism. And that was the first one, Born Free, to my knowledge, historically.
You're very kind. And so we sort of know the path. Well, what's going on now? Because there's still deaths, there's still tragedies happening. I mean, this year alone, we've had Nanook die, and we've had another dolphin die as well. I was just looking to Jensen, died at SeaWorld in Orlando. It's sort of ongoing, isn't it? And until it changes, it won't change, if you see what I mean. Animals will still suffer, animals will still die.
Yeah, well, they're all on death row. Everyone that comes in captivity. Excuse me, that light is a bit much. Yeah, well, they're all going to die there. There's no way out unless those corporations change and see the opportunity to create something new and fresh. Dolphin sanctuaries, whale sanctuaries. There's no reason Lolita, for example, cannot be flown from Miami to her home range where she was captured and put into a sanctuary. The public will go there. The public will pay to see that. It won't make as much money as SeaWorld is making now. They're going to have to be less greedy, but this can be profitable. And it's the future. And it's going to happen. I'm absolutely sure it's going to happen. It's the only way forward.